Township of Edison Zoning Board of Adjustment special meeting of May 30th, 2023 is now in session. Adequate notice of this meeting, as required by the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, has been provided by the annual notice published in the Home News and Tribune on January 14th, 2023, and has been posted in the main lobby of the municipal complex on January 3rd, 2023. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Ms. Shaw? Here. Mr. Ayotte?
Here.
Mr. Chabra?
Here.
Mr. Cerrito?
Here.
Ms. Hernandez-Prince?
Here.
Mr. DeVay?
Here.
Mr. Sadaha?
Here.
Vice Chair O'Gorman?
Here.
And Chairman Kumba?
Here. Madam Secretary, do you have minutes for consideration?
We do. May 23, 2023.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Motion made by Vice Chairman O'Gorman, pardon me. Seconded by Ms. Hernandez-Prince. Roll call, please.
Mr. Chabra?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Cerrito?
Yes on the motion.
Ms. Hernandez-Prince?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. DeVay?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Sadaha?
Yes on the motion.
Vice Chair O'Gorman?
Yes.
And Chairman Kumba?
Yes on the motion. Okay, we have one announcement. Case 2, Z36, 2022, Tivid Lane, LLC, has been carried until July 25th, 2023, with no renotice. If you are here for this case, Z36, 2022, Tivid Lane, LLC, it will not be heard this evening, but it will be carried to July 25th. There will be no renotice, so this is your notice. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special meeting of the Township of Edison Zoning Board of Adjustment. This board is composed of Edison Township residents appointed by the Municipal Council who volunteer their time and service to the board. Municipal land use law requires that members successfully complete a land use training course administered by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. This board also holds in-house training conducted by our board professionals. The zoning board abides by the provisions of the municipal land use law in addition to our board's bylaws. The zoning board is a quasi-judicial land use board, which differs from the township planning board. Under the municipal land use law, board members are required to be impartial and are not allowed to discuss any case prior to its consideration before the board at a hearing. All applicants will have the opportunity to present their case before the board, with the opportunity for board members and board professionals to question the applicant and their witnesses. At the conclusion of the applicant's presentation of their case, the case will be open to the public. Residents within 200 feet of the subject property will be heard, followed by residents from outside of 200 feet. All residents will be sworn in, will provide their name and address, and they'll be given 6 minutes to comment on the application being considered without the opportunity for a rebuttal. Residents may ask questions of the applicant's professionals, and board professionals. The board requests that these questions are asked prior to any comments being made on the application. Once commentary begins, the resident's timer will begin. The applicant would be allowed for the opportunity for cross-examination of their witnesses. Under the law, the chair is allowed to stop any comment that is repetitive or is an attempt to filibuster the board. Further, the chair is allowed to stop any commentary that is irrelevant to the case or prohibited from the board's consideration. Once the public portion is closed, all public comment is ended unless new testimony is presented by the applicant. Following the closure of the public portion, the applicant will have the right of summation on their application. Following summation, the case will go to the board for decision. This procedure has been followed by the board and is similar to the procedures followed by boards of adjustment statewide. The municipal land use law requires the board to engage in a balancing act and is not required to strictly apply township ordinances, zoning plan, or master plan. As a board of adjustment, variants are granted when appropriately necessary following all legal considerations. As has been the case with prior boards, This board will see where we are if we are in session around 10:30 p.m. I ask that all applicants, professionals, and residents show respect to each other and be civil throughout all proceedings. I ask that you withhold applause, booing, or interrupting of anyone while they are speaking. That being said, Madam Secretary, first case on the agenda, please.
Case number 1, Z31 2022, Romit Gandhi at 52 Utica Road. Applicant is seeking a bulk and use D variance to construct a new single-family home. Max lot coverage permitted is 15%, proposed is 18.57%. Max FAR permitted is 0.25, proposed is 0.286. Applicant was asked to reduce the FAR and return to the board with the reduced plan. Affected property is located in the RA zone designated as block number 1006, lot number 18 on the Edison Township tax map. All noticing paperwork is in order.
Give you, Mr. Shire.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Bernard Shire, representing the applicant, Romit Gandhi, the owner of the property at 52 Utica Road, block 1006, lot 18 in the RA zone. Presently, the property is vacant. It was previously a single-family home, which is the permitted use in the zone. The proposal is construction of a new single-family home with variances for floor area ratio and lot coverage by building. Previously, the original application called for an FAR of 32%, and the board made a recommendation that it be reduced, and my client has dealt with his architect and reduced it from 32% to 28.6%. The lot coverage permitted is 15%. Originally, we proposed 18.57%. It is now, based on Mr. Fletcher's calculations, at 17%. So we've reduced both variances. I have Mr. Gandhi present here with me, as well as Mr. Fletcher, who is a licensed engineer and professional planner of the state of New Jersey. Unless there are any preliminary questions from the board, I'm ready to proceed.
Does the board have any questions for Mr. Shire? Without objection, you may proceed.
Right. Call Mr. Gandhi.
Mr. Gandhi, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And please state your full name for the record. You can bring the microphone to you.
My first name is Romit and last name is Gandhi.
Mr. Gandhi, you're the owner of the property at 52 Utica Road, correct?
Yes.
And you're proposing to build a single-family home, which is the subject of this application, correct?
Yes.
You originally proposed violations of the floor area ratio of 32%, where 25% is permitted, and 18.57%, where 15% is permitted for lot coverage by buildings. You have now, along with your architect and engineer, reduced the floor area ratio to 28.6% from 32, and the lot coverage by buildings from 18.57 to 17%. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, can you please explain to the board why you need a little bit larger floor area for your home?
As I consider first,
Sir, if you could bring the microphone
to
closer to you.
Okay, try it now. Here, try mine.
as I consider last meeting, we have like extended family, plus we have two like a handicapped person, the parents. Is when the first floor, they're not going to upstairs, and they had a wheelchair access too. And that we need the spacious for a member of a family. So we just planning to moving on the Hackensack to now Edison, and we recently moved for renting the house because we don't have any choice at right now. So we recently moving in Edison and renting the house for next couple months. So as far as we reduce for all the previous, like I'll consider a last percentage. So as much as I can reduce for my parents and my family, I do my best.
All right. So essentially, in order to make it handicap accessible for your, is it your grandparent or parent?
Parent.
Your parent, you need that little bit extra floor area, correct?
And as for consider the first floor,
Hang on one second. Mike, is that other microphone working? Okay, sir, so you can take that microphone this way, that's make it easier the back and forth.
as for considered, we do have no choice to consider like a little smaller square feet. We already reduced to our parents' handicap accessible bathroom. So now they have only for the regular standard bathroom. And we need at least wheelchair access for their room, and they're not going to upstairs and downstairs. We do not have any elevator. We do not have any kind of extraordinary room houses. We as much as making all the comparison houses who making a dining room, family room, living room, the kitchenette area, the storage pantry room, the parents' room, guest room, the who has a master room, like whatever the consider basic house. We just need the required just for extra square feet just because of we have the accident family and plus the parent.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gandhi. Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Gandhi?
I'll ask that, Mr. Shire. Does the board have any questions of Mr. Gandhi?
Yeah, you said the house is for handicap access, you said?
Just they have a wheelchair. That's why there is no handicap access, but we're trying to making the bathroom. But now is nothing on handicap. We just need a wheelchair moving on need a space for moving the wheelchair.
So you have no ramp here, no elevator.
No elevator.
How are they going to go second floor with the
They're
handicap?
not going to use the second floor.
They're only going to be on the
That's
first
only
floor.
going to first floor, and that's why we like the consider a guest room to my parent room. That we don't have any guest room.
Okay, so
Entire house there is no guest room.
so that guest room is going to become a bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Dubey. Any board have any other questions for Mr. Gandhi? Seeing none?
I'll call Mr. Fletcher.
Thank you.
Mr. Fletcher, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
And just state your full name.
Paul J. Fletcher.
Mr. Fletcher, if you could just give your qualifications.
Yes, I'm a licensed professional engineer and professional planner in the state of New Jersey. Principal of Fletcher Engineering, have been for 31 years.
And your license are current and good standing?
Yes,
Okay, we'll accept you. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fletcher, you were retained by the applicant to prepare the engineering aspects of this application, correct?
That is correct.
And as such, did you review the situation of the property as it stands presently?
Yes,
Could you please just give the board the benefit of your observations of how the property presently exists?
yes. Currently, the property is vacant. The existing home has been demolished and removed. Before that, there was a small one-story framed brick dwelling. So the applicant proposes to demolish all the existing site improvements and construct a new two-story single-family home with a circular drive. The topography is quite flat, especially in the backyard. It gently slopes down to the rear. What we're proposing, and the board may recall from our last meeting that we originally had a seepage pit. That, because of the ordinance changes, we have removed the seepage pit, and we're showing roof leaders that will connect all roof leaders from the house directly to a storm sewer inlet that's located in Utica Road. The driveway slopes towards Utica. So the only area that slopes towards the rear is just the grass area behind the house. In discussions with the applicant, we're proposing, and we will revise the plan to show this, we'll put 2 or 3 small lawn inlets in the rear to capture any water that may run to the rear. I know neighbors are concerned that we're going to adversely affect them, but I think these yard drains will ensure that none of our runoff goes to them, and if any of their runoff comes to us, it will capture that as well.
So you'll actually be improving the present situation, correct?
Yes.
And there will be no additional runoff. Actually, there'll be less runoff to the rear, which is the only portion that runs away from Utica, correct?
That's correct.
So actually, there'll be a net decrease in runoff from the property.
Certainly to the rear, yes.
Okay. Now, with regard to Mr. Gandhi's testimony, he indicated that the reason he needed the higher floor area ratio is because he has a disabled parent and needs wheelchair access on the ground floor, especially to their bedroom. Can you tell me what the floor area ratio will become under this new plan? It was proposed at 32. It's been reduced, correct?
That's correct. It's down to 28.7. The lot coverage by building has been reduced from 18 and a half down to 17.
All right. And now from a planning standpoint, based upon what Mr. Gandhi has testified to and the existing conditions on the property, can you tell me if there is justification from a planning standpoint for these variances?
Yes, I believe the board has the authority. Regarding the lot coverage by building, which is a C variance, I believe under the criteria of a C2 bulk variance, where the benefits outweigh the detriments. This is a de minimis difference. The 2% is not noticeable and is not going to cause a negative impact to the neighborhood. With regards to the FAR, it's a D5 variance, as opposed to a D1, which is a use variance. The D5 is for the FAR, floor area ratio, where the density is slightly more than allowed in the zone. And the courts have viewed this kind of a variance, a D5, as requiring less of a owner's proof than a D1, and they look to a case called, I believe it's Coventry, that the applicant must show that the increased density can be handled by the property. And I would point to the fact that we're complying with all side yard setbacks, total impervious coverage, rear yard setback, front yard setback. So in my mind, the property can accommodate this house. And it can accommodate it without adversely affecting the neighborhood or the neighbors. And I think that the extra cost of the applicant providing a drainage system will benefit the adjoining neighbors.
Right. So in short, the actual variances we're seeking are now de minimis based on the reductions that we've given. There will be handicap accessibility for a handicapped person, wheelchair accessibility, and we are actually improving the drainage and runoff situation by the addition of correcting the flow so it all goes toward the street, and the 2 or 3 additional drains in the rear to stop any runoff off the property to the rear. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And these variances can all be granted without any substantial impairment of the zone plan and zoning ordinance?
That is my opinion, yes.
And without any substantial detriment to the public good?
Yes.
I have no other questions of Mr. Fletcher.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sharp. I just have a question. In Mr. Fletcher's testimony, he said that the new floor area ratio is 0.287. I just wanted to see if you just confirm that, because on the agenda it was .286. I don't have a FAR certification. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page.
I'm calculating .28745.
Okay. All right. Then it's 2.28745. Does the board have any questions for Mr. Fletcher?
Mr. Chairman,
Vice Chairman O'Gorman.
in our package, we have this addresses with all the list prices, 16 Parker, 14 Parker. What is this?
That was not prepared by me. I did not prepare that list.
I think the owner is raising the hand.
What?
Wait, sir. You're going to have to. We're questioning Mr. Fletcher right now. Ms. Chai, are you aware of the information that the vice chairman's referring to?
I didn't hear the question. That's
Dan.
In our package is you have the market price and the square footage for 14 Parker, 15 Parker, 22 Parker. I just want to know what it is.
It's the owners prepared that.
I believe the owner prepared that. I did not make the original submission. I just was hired before this portion of the application. But if you would,
So let's
the owner can.
Let's do this, Mr. Shire. Let's finish any questions for Mr. Fletcher, and then we can then recall the owner. Okay? All right. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Fletcher? All right, Mr. Fletcher, did you do any analysis into the proposed FAR and the size of this home and in comparison to other homes within the neighborhood?
I did not.
Okay. Anyone have any other questions for Mr. Fletcher? All right, seeing none. Mr. Shire, if you want to recall the owner.
Thank you. Mr. Gandhi, can you please? Mr. Gandhi is still under oath, I assume.
Yes.
Mr. Gandhi, did you hear the question from the vice chair?
Yes.
Could you please respond?
When I came to submit my application, I got the email, and it's for say that there is no accept help for the application, so they need required for the square footage nearby that neighborhood. So that is why I just submitted, and then I get approved for my application.
Mr. Chairman?
Vice Chairman.
So these are similar properties in the area?
Yes, multiple.
What
Yeah,
was
there
that?
is similar properties in area.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Gandhi? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Shire?
That is the applicant's case, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we will now go out to the public. Anyone within 200 feet of the subject property wanting to be heard will approach first. If you are within 200 feet of the property, you have received a notice via certified mail. We will then go to outside of 200 feet of the property. All folks, any person wishing to speak will have 6 minutes. Any questions, we ask that you ask the questions at the beginning, and then once your questions then turn to commentary, your timer will begin. That being said, anyone within 200 feet of the property wanting to be heard?
My name is... Sir, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, yeah.
State your full name for the record. Provide your address.
My name is Jian Zhongjian. I live on 94 Sherman Boulevard, direct behind the applicant's property. I still very big concern with the privacy from the from this the new house, new proposed house. Even they decrease the size, still if you look at still 3% over the zoning requirement. And like, I think I like deeply like concerned, right? Because the house is still very big, right? It's still like will impact neighbors. And also like, as I remember, right, the house the applicant tried to build is not just with your parents, right? Also your brother's family, right? Or live with you together, right? I can say like, in the area still have like big lots, right? Why, if you have dream, right, try to build a big house, why try to find a bigger lots, right, to accommodate your dream? Yeah. Personally, I strong against the proposal.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Anyone else from within 200 feet of the property want to be heard?
Sir, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your full name and provide your address.
Manish Chandel, 50 Utica.
Sir, if you just pull the microphone up just so we can hear you. Thank you so much.
All right. So I have a few questions and few concerns, which we've come jointly together and raised this. The increased building size will further increase the water seepage issues, which we've already seen that. We talked about it last time too. And there is a lot of stagnation of water there. So hopefully that needs to be addressed also, because it's almost a pond, with all this water there. Increased proximity will reduce the privacy of neighborhood. We've all paid a lot of money for the property. We've built property, and we want privacy also. When we come back home, we want privacy, and we shouldn't be stepping on each other. So that's another thing. Disproportionate housing in the neighborhood, it just creates a bad precedence. Today, somebody will ask for 55, 57, and then somebody will ask for 6,000. So it sets up a bad precedence. By the way, these laws are all came from you guys, right? The zoning board had these laws. If it is allowed 5,000, maybe give him another 100, but try to control it within the limits, right? So that's one thing. It also destroys the uniqueness of the whole neighborhood. It's a pretty good neighborhood. People coexist. People have their own sizes, houses. Nothing is disproportionate. One is looking, awful, and one is looking. So every houses are in pretty good shape and in proportion. Larger homes will also devalue other properties in the neighborhood, which I feel, which is going to add to more. As it is, the property values are going out of control, and that's why all the builders are building these huge houses in the neighborhood, which is spoiling the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else within 200 feet of the property want to be heard? Sir?
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
And state your full name along with your address.
My name is Devang Patel. My address is 43 Utica Road.
You may proceed, sir. Thank you.
Hi. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for allowing us to be heard. I would like to echo some of the concerns that my neighbor Manish had about the fact that this significantly impairs the privacy of the individual neighbors and the homes. This may have some issues with regard to the lot size being so compressed and one home being disproportionately too large. But I think at its core, we have to look at something here. At its core, the variance that was set up and pointed out by my neighbor, by your board, was 25%. I don't see a reason to extend that to even 26, 27, 28%. The reason it was set up is for the reasons you gave when you made that law, and there should be no reason to extend it. If we do that, the precedent can go further, and that means that the reason you set it up is not valid to begin with, because someone else can come next week and say, oh, I want 28%, I want 27%, I want 30%. I heard Mr. Gandhi's testimony about some sort of compromise for handicapped access to a bathroom. And far be it from me to take away from any handicapped person's utilization of room. But if that's the case, they can just cut some of the space in one of the rooms to make handicap access for the bathroom. That is a very poor excuse, I think, to want to get extra space, because at its core, I think we should stick to the variance and the rules that were set for the benefit of all. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle?
Just to clarify, for the record, the Zoning Board of Adjustment does not promulgate any of the ordinances, any portion of the master plan or the zone plan. That is promulgated by council with the help of the planning board with respect to that. So when you speak of the variances are not set by this board. The variances are basically just utilized by this board in determining whether a variance is required or not.
Sir?
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and state your full name, provide your address.
Sachin Jade, 54 Utica Road.
You may proceed, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, so definitely one of the concerns that was raised last time was with the whole water seepage system. And I appreciate the applicant making some effort in trying to take care of that with this new proposal. But I'm not sure how that takes care, because the amount of logging that we have in terms of water there is pretty significant. So it just goes beyond just a few pipes, etc. Right? It actually is pretty miserable. In addition to that, when you start talking about privacy, etc., it does have an impact around that. From what you just spoke, Ms. Shah, I believe that the ordinances and the rules have been set up by the zoning board, etc., but they have been done by somebody for some reason, for whatever reason that have been created. And the intent is that experience, history has created those kind of like, okay, these are the rules that have to be followed. So trying to figure out what the real rationale is to allow that to go about the rules in that capacity. Not sure that the reasoning that has been provided really suffices that. So those are the key concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else within 200 feet of the site? Sir, please.
You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please state your full name, provide your address.
My name is Sudhir Upadhyay, 58 Utica Road.
You may proceed, sir. Thank you.
Sure. First of all, as our neighbor mentioned, thank you so much for allowing us to speak. And second, we welcome Mr. Gandhi in our neighborhood. We met a couple of times, and so very warm welcome to the neighborhood. So I actually echo some of the sentiments that other neighbors have raised. Number one is, of course, disproportionate property in the neighborhood. And more importantly, I do feel that once a precedence is set, it also just keeps incrementing. You have 55, 56, and by the way, someone right in front of our home will come and look and say, well, that's 57, so why can't I do 60? And that will be one of the reasons. So I would definitely, look forward to the board to actually look into that consideration. The second one is I as much as other gentlemen said regarding the handicap accessibility, my home is 3,600 square feet in the same neighborhood, and it's pretty bright. We have had some of my familiar acquaintances who have come, and they have been easily move around in the home without any constraints. Number third is, in addition to all the water issue that has been already highlighted, I'm not going to repeat that, but I also think that this is a single-family home. In my opinion, as we have multiple families living in the same home, can put a constraint on our school system. I do not think that a single-family home should have multiple families together, right? That's the idea. That's the name by itself indicates that this is a single-family home. Number four is along the similar lines, the privacy and having the value of the property being obviously diminished compared to others, and that's why we moved into the neighborhood, because every home was similar constraint size. Number five is, look, the rules. I understand the rules are not set by this board, but they've been set for a reason. And unless there is a compelling reason, which I probably haven't heard, maybe you might have. I do not think I'm in support of this, so I would like to oppose this. At the same time, I would definitely welcome Mr. Gandhi in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Shah?
So there's a misconception that the words single-family dwelling equate in some way, shape, or fashion to what constitutes a family dynamic. It is unconstitutional for this board to consider what constitutes a family dynamic that is outside of the scope of our review.
Thank you. Anyone else within 200 feet of the site want to be heard?
Sir, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
And please state your full name for the record, providing your address.
My full name is Shubhashish Sharkar.
You may proceed, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, so basically we raised this concern about the water logging. So my neighbor already mentioned about that thing.
Sir, did you provide your address?
What is
I'm
it?
sorry, did you provide your address?
Oh, sorry, 96 Sharman Boulevard.
Okay, thank you very much. You may proceed.
So already my neighbor told about a lot of issue like a...
You can just speak up a little, sir. I'm sorry.
My neighbor already told about a lot of issue regarding the water logging, privacy, and another biggest problem is that bigger problem would be happening whenever the big home is coming in that area. That is the environment. So I always concern about that thing because our neighbor is full of trees and all those things. Whenever you are putting a big house, definitely a lot of tree would be cut, and that will impact on our environment. So I'm not sure how much environment impact going to happen because of this kind of big house. Second thing about the privacy, definitely privacy would be reduced. And when the privacy would be reduced, every home in that neighbor area would be reduced. And third thing, which I already mentioned about that, the precedence. I do not want to create any precedence, or we do not want to create any precedence in that area so other people can make bigger house, and that area would be look much more congested. So these are the things I want to mention. Please consider these things. So keep the 25%, which is very much rational, I believe, should be there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Is there anyone else within 200 feet? Sir?
Sir, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And please state your full name for the record, providing your address. You might want to pull that microphone closer.
My name is Prashant Shah. I live at 20 Ramsey Road, Edison, New Jersey 08820. I echo the sentiment of my neighbors. Basically, Mr. Gandhi has approached me in the past also one-on-one at my own house. I feel that the variance rules are set for a reason. If it is not supposed to be followed, I don't know why do we set the variance rule. Whoever has set it up, correct? These neighbors, whoever has come in, almost staying for a decade, and it's a close-knit community, and we don't want to set a wrong precedent. Mr. Gandhi is most welcome to stay here as long as it permits within the limit. Another thing is privacy is another issue, as it's going to be this is a single family area, and when multiple families are going to live in a single family home, we need to look at that point also. That's what I want to say.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else within 200 feet of the property who want to be heard?
Sir, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
And please state your full name, providing your address.
Narendra Patel, 46 Utica Road. All these issues there are addressed by all neighbors which are coming here, like 10 families, 12 families, all this 3-4 times they all came. And that's the reason why we are coming here. The reason is this size of the house. If it gets too big, we don't know what will be the next house. And this is usually the trend setting happening in the Edison. I have seen it. My house is pretty much big size, but it's within the limits. And same thing, the rules are set for certain limits. And I understand if your parents are old, we should accommodate him. But there should be something reasonable thing where we can accommodate. Same thing, we can cut the other sizes, we can increase the other sizes. And same thing, if it loses the privacy, if the drainage is a problem, then there should be some issues to be addressed. And that's our concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else within 200 feet of the site wanting to be heard? Anyone within 200 feet? No? Okay. Is there anyone outside 200 feet wanting to be heard? Sir?
Sir, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yeah, I do.
Please state your full name for the record, providing your address.
My name is Zhao Bin Wu, and I live at 43 Parker Road.
You may proceed, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I simply against this proposal is too big, too huge, and then for the following reasons. The first one is the environmental issues. The big house usually, even though they don't, they say they won't cut down the tree, but the fact is they cut down all the trees, or 90% of trees around the house, and then they bring down the tree and the animals, and they don't have a fireplace to live. Less trees means less privacy. So the second issue against the big house is that those trees protect our privacy between our neighborhood, and those trees, when they cut down those trees, and then less privacy. And also big house used to close to the border of the roads, and then the neighbors doesn't feel comfortable when living with bigger house, when the house expands to the border of the lot. The third reason against this proposal also simple is because too big. Too big means there's too many people and too many cars and the traffic, etc. That kind of impact the whole area. Even though I don't live within the 200 feet, but I live like around like 400 or 600 feet of the property. And then I talked to my neighbors about their feeling about this big house. They also say that it's too big and then they will impact their life. But they don't come here just simply because they don't receive the letter, so they don't know. If they knew that there are more people will come, just like what you see here. How many families you see. The fourth reason against this proposal is that we have an audience, we have a law, we have regulation. And then when something is violation, when something is against the law, violated or oversized it, and that means violation. And then we know there are reasons, or all kinds of reasons, but that we count them as personal reasons. And then if there are personal reasons that become a countable reason to against the regulation, I don't know why we need to hold the regulation, why you need to put them into the book and then have everyone to follow the rule and only some exception and to violate the regulation. And also, the other people have already bring up the bigger house also make other house looks ugly, smaller, and then the house value will bring down. And that impact the whole area. So this the sixth reason. The last reason that against it is this is already, so the ratio, the FAR, 2.5, 0.25, already very huge. With the lot, I believe it will go up to like 5,000 or 6,000 square feet. This is already very huge. It's like a mansion. So I don't know why we need so big of the FAR. How many people are going to live here? So this, I feel confused. Why is not enough for 6,000 square feet? We all know how big a 6,000 square feet house is. 7,000, 6,000 square feet. We all know that. We went to the mansion. We know how big it is. So this is my question. I don't see this question get answered. So that's all.
Thank you very much, sir. Is there anyone else with outside 200 feet wanting to be heard? Anyone outside 200 feet? Last call. Anybody outside 200 feet? Can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Mr. Chairman, I have one question for...
Wait, no, we need the motion to close the public portion first.
Motion to close public session.
Okay, so...
Wait, just made a motion. Are you going to second the motion?
I'll second the motion.
All right, motion made by Vice Chairman O'Gorman, seconded by Mr. Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Public portion is now closed. Mr. Dave.
All right, so I make
Bring the
a
microphone
motion to
closer.
approve this
Wait,
application.
I'm sorry. We need to actually, before we make a motion, we need to notify Mr. Shire, just so that you're aware. You didn't do a summation yet, but we just want to make sure that you're aware that there are only 6 eligible voting members this evening. I don't know what your decision is, how you'd like to proceed. If you'd like 2 minutes, we can give you 2
Can I
minutes.
have just one moment to speak
Sure.
with my client? Five affirmative votes in order for it to pass. They only have 6 board members here. They are going there. That means you can only have 1 negative vote. Usually there would be 7 members here, so you could afford to have 2 negative votes. Do you want them to vote with 6? Sure. Have them vote? Yeah. Mr. Chairman, we'll be satisfied to have the board vote.
Okay, all right, thank you. Is there any discussion before we go to amongst the board prior to going to the board, or would you like to just go to a motion? Anyone have any discussion?
No,
sorry.
No.
Not you.
Sorry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a comment.
Yes, absolutely.
So after looking at the overlay that Mr. Fletcher had prepared on the site plan, I can definitely tell that the existing site improvements with the 2-car garage and the overlaid large concrete patio from the existing, I can definitely see that the removal and elimination of the sewage seepage pit definitely will help the BMP, and directing all of roof leaders straight into the street would definitely be impactful and beneficial for the neighborhood. And I definitely feel like this is a new perspective resident for Edison, and definitely feel like this would be very beneficial to the neighborhood.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Vice Chairman.
Yes, and looking at the drawings, and the entire backyard is on the perimeter has the trees. So they're doing the total replacement. So for the concern, any concern about privacy, it's been addressed on the drawings. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dave? No? Okay. All right. What is the pleasure of the board?
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve this application as the applicant has significantly reduced the lot coverage brought it down to 18.57, and also the FAR, they significantly reduced to bring it down to 28.6%. They also are meeting all the setback criteria, also are maintaining the impervious coverage requirement. Applicants will submit the proper construction documents and get the proper building permit before to the township before any construction begins. Applicants also agreed that no rain runoff will go to any neighbor's property, either through the front yard or the rear yard, by adding additional drains in the rear yards. There will not be any stagnant water because of the new additional drains installed in the rear yard. Applicant approval of this application will have no negative impact to the neighborhood. It will enhance the appearance of the neighborhood with new improvements, and this will not be detrimental to the public goods.
Okay, motion was made by Mr. Dave.
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chairman O'Gorman. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Mr. Chabra?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Cerrito?
Yes on the motion.
Ms. Hernandez-Prince?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. DeVay?
Yes on the motion.
Vice Chair O'Gorman?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairman Kumba?
Yes on the motion. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any other business to come before the board this evening?
That'll be all.
All right. With that being said,
Motion to close? Second.
motion made by Vice Chairman O'Gorman, seconded by Mr. Sadata. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The board stands adjourned. Thank you. sir. I haven't seen the agenda yet,
Mike.
but I'm here.
And Dan. Yes, sir. My comment